on time, perhaps before most of us. I apologize for the delay. And it's lovely to see the enthusiasm. It's great to see a lot of familiar faces also. It just says that what's being pulled off here is actually making an impact somewhere. It actually matters somewhere. And I'm also glad that a lot of students dedicated some time today to understand this field, to understand what part they could play in this industry, and how they can approach in a larger manner the internet industry and the various stakeholders present in the internet industry. Thank you so much for being here. And I'd like to welcome everybody to DomainX 2019. There have been a lot of changes this year. You might have observed a change in the venue. That's not the only change. Unfortunately, they couldn't replace me so far, but we are working on it. And besides that, you would also have observed in the agenda, that's a 2-day schedule. And it's not because we are late all the time. Okay? It's genuinely a 2-day schedule. There's so much to do. There's so much to talk about. There's so many people to meet. We've added some new formats this year. There are going to be smaller, intimate, one-on-one sessions which address feedback that we received last year, saying that there are some basic questions which people do not feel much time can be spent on during the talks which our speakers have up here. We tried to disseminate information on those topics as well in a more casual environment last year. We're going to roll all of that up into the sessions tomorrow, and all kinds of questions, one-on-one questions, questions about portfolio reviews, for example, questions about what steps to take which you may not want to disclose publicly. Maybe there are some slightly gray areas that you are participating in. You want to demystify those, clarify those. You can do all of that tomorrow. So we'll have a talk on what to expect tomorrow a little later, but let me not take up more time. Let's begin the proceedings today. And I'd like to today begin the proceedings by inviting for the lamp lighting our guests of honor, Mr. Samiran Gupta, head of ICANN at India. Samiran sir has always been a strong supporter of education in this industry, and he's always been here to guide us on the latest on what's happening in the internet industry. I thank you, sir, for being present here today once again for us. Thank you so much for all your time. I also want to call for the lamp lighting Dr. Ajay Data, an awarded innovator, sir. An awarded innovator. It would be difficult to find another name in this space today who is doing more to champion the cause of Indian regional languages and make the internet more accessible to non-English speakers in this country, of which there are a large number beyond the urban areas. So we must acknowledge his efforts for that. A large round of applause for Dr. Ajay Data, please. I'd like to call Amrita Choudhary, ma'am. Ma'am, from the Internet Society India Delhi chapter. She's also the director of CCOAI, and they have been making efforts to connect all of us over the last decade. She's not only been working on initiatives to increase the penetration of internet at a broad level, so whether it's through cyber cafes or through internet service providers, and help them with policy framing. But besides that, she's also been making the internet more accessible in regional Indian languages, and I'd like us to acknowledge ma'am's efforts for that. Thank you for being here today with us, ma'am. There's another familiar face who I'd like to invite quickly on stage for the lamp lighting, Mr. John Yao, the man who broke the internet with his 250K purchase of stockphoto.com. Thank you, John, for being here at DomainX. An entrepreneur and an avid startup mentor. John is somebody you can pose all your questions on all sides of entrepreneurship. He's been there, he's done that. You can ask him all of your questions later to that. And I'd like to thank him for being here with us today. May I please request you to proceed towards lighting the lamp. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Samiran, sir, may I please request you to stay back for a few minutes? Uh, as the first keynote presenter of the day, I would request Mr. Samiran Gupta to please take stage and provide us with his insights on how the internet industry has been shaping in 2019. Mr. Samiran Gupta has been at the forefront of managing stakeholders in the internet industry at a global level as he heads ICANN for India. And as you all know, there has been a lot of action in the internet industry over the last 5 years, over the last 6 to 8 years, in fact, with the introduction of a lot of TLDs, with the introduction of more and more audiences who have been exposed to the internet for the first time, some through mobile, some through broadband penetration. So this brings up a lot of challenges, and the person who's been tackling these challenges at the forefront of it is right here. I request Mr. Samiran Gupta to please provide us with his keynote address. Thank you, sir. Yes.